And we're back on your screens. It's still the AM show, and it's time now for the news review. My guest in the studio with me this morning is Yaa Jantuah. Did I get the name right? Okay. And she's a former director for PURC, and she's joining us this morning to get into the trendiest of topics and issues of national concern in the country. Yaa, it's good to have you in the studio.
It's good to have you, but you forgot that I'm the former general secretary
of CPP. Yes,
you are the PURC. It's a long time.
I think that's the thing. That's the highlight for me. So because of this ongoing power crisis, and
but they said they have
about 7 years ago.
Yes,
right? Yeah,
they said they've resolved it.
Have they?
I mean, I don't know.
In fact, let's get right into it. Usually, before we get into the actual
news stories,
sheets
of paper,
yes, I'm sure they're working on it to bring you something. Before we get into the stories, I'll give you some time, a minute or two, to talk about anything that's topical that you want to address. It could be the power issue. It could be some of the speeches from flag bearers. It could also be what's happening in the CPP. What's on your mind this morning?
Oh, CPP is on my mind.
Okay.
And good morning to your viewers. And I got a call this morning, and I think that we should try and resolve our issues. I'm not there. I'm no longer the general secretary, resigned on block. But whatever it is, I believe the time has come for us to resolve our issues.
Okay. What issues?
Because the optics are not beautiful. In and out of courts and all that. I believe it's time that whatever it is, I mean, we really resolved it. Because Ghanaians look up to us a lot. And Ghanaians look up to the CPP. Everybody you speak to wishes that the CPP is in a better place.
Yeah.
And the CPP would have been a formidable third force. I think we need to find a way of resolving whatever is the issue. We resigned on block, all that, in court, up and down. I believe the time has come for everybody to come around to see to it that things are done.
Do you think the chairperson is doing enough to...
I'm not there. I actually don't know what's going on. I intend to place a call through to her when I leave here to find out exactly what it is. Because the backwards and the forwards, I mean, we need to resolve it. It's very important.
Okay.
We can't let it be like this. And this morning I didn't want to talk about it. Because when I left, I thought that whatever has been put in place would run smoothly for us to go for elections and move the party forward. This is an election year and know how best to make things happen. But unfortunately, every day you hear something else. And I think the time has come for us to get together.
Nana from Poma was saying that I hosted her in our former studio, and she was saying that it's because the two major political parties and some other key players in this country, leadership, know that because the CPP is a formidable force, they are just working to keep them down there. Do you believe that?
How can anybody?
That's the issue with the CPP.
I mean, whatever it is, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
All I know is that the time has come for us to bring the party up again.
So what should be done?
We need to look at it and sit back and have a holistic view of exactly what it is that is making us fight the way we fight. And I met Samia and at the Accra Mall, and we had a conversation. And after she left, I was sad. And I said, what's happening? And Nkrumah's daughter came, she's gone, doesn't want to know anything about CPP.
Yeah.
Akosa is gone. BC Akosa's son is gone. Agude is gone. Abu Sakara is gone. Susan Allah's son is gone.
Wow.
Yes, and these are all the children of the formidables. None of Krobodusa's children are in there. Do you get it? Kweku Bako is gone.
Yeah.
That is Kofi Bako's son.
Yeah.
Jantuah came, she's gone. Even though Jantuah 1 is still around, not much. So what? After I spoke to her, I said, what actually is the problem? That we need to really sit and resolve it. Coming 2025, there is a need for the CPP to start doing great things because we have a good brand. And the party with a good brand, you don't let the brand go waste.
Right. Okay. Let's get into news stories. We'll start from myjoyonline.com, our news portal. And you can see that our top story there says that power outages destroy UPS and several medical equipment at CAD. I don't know if you've been following the story there.
No.
But in a bit, we'll get into the actual story to read a little bit about it. But it talks about how the intermittent power cuts have destroyed the uninterrupted power supply. These hospitals or the hospital facilities and equipment are supposed to have backup power storage so that even when the power goes off, it's, comes in, the power, these equipment fall on the backup power to generate power and solve whatever problems that they need that for. But because of the intermittent power cuts, these uninterrupted power supply have now been destroyed, leaving these hospitals open for all sorts of fatalities that's going to occur. We know that the Tema General Hospital a few days ago was in the news about a child losing its life because of of the intermittent power cuts.
Have they confirmed
the
it now?
The hospital came out to say that
it's not true.
It's not because, if the child died, it's not because of the power outage situation. What do you think about what's going on? When you came in first, you said that they said they'd resolved it. When was the last time you had uninterrupted power supply?
My dear, you see, thank you very much, but because of the untruths around this whole thing, I shut off from, I think I was in one of your studios on Saturday. From Saturday, I shut off because the truth must be told. And when you attempt to tell the truth, they tag you as NDC. Right. This is an evidence of doomsday. Clearly. It is an evidence of doomsday because a doomsday that is not well managed. If this is being managed at the end of ECG, at the end of the customer side, at the end of the feeder, then you would know which areas are within your jurisdiction. The ECG would know. And isolate feeders that are on the hospital. Do you understand me? Because it means that they take it from the DSP bulk power and Gridco doesn't even know what is. Legally, you are not supposed to put off a hospital, a school, an old people's home. Even it extends to the fact that if somebody is not well in an area as a diabetic or the medicine the person needs has to be refrigerated, you don't have to put that person.
In fact, you need electricity to even process the person to enter the system and use whatever identification.
That's it. Because you see, I am surprised digitalization has come on the table and today we are having power outages. How can digitalization work when we have power outages? But you also think that the hospital should have backup. Yes, in these times, I believe as a matter of urgency, if the VRA, the ECG or the government cannot let us have a schedule from the ECG to manage the load for us, then some of these critical installations must be given proper generators for backup.
There's a school of thought that if they give us a timetable, it would be admitting that there's doomsday, which would be a political suicide for the New Patriotic Party because it's election year.
Which is more important, the people of Ghana or their party?
Well.
No, I mean, seriously, no politician is more important than the people of Ghana. Because at the end of the day, it is we who make them who they are. So we have employed them. And if you have employed you have an issue, you won't tell us. Because I always say that if we wake up 7 December and nobody goes to vote, that is the political crisis.
Right.
Do you get me? Granted that we go out and nobody is at the polling station to vote. Who will be our president? So typically we make them who they are. So if there is a problem, they should come and tell us. They shouldn't think about themselves. It is unfortunate that governments, when we put them in place, forget that they are working for us. So instead of becoming servant leaders, they become something else. You get me? They become something else, and at the end of the day, we suffer the brunt of what they do. Why don't you admit it? You see, there's nothing wrong. I always say there's nothing wrong with having challenges in the power system. Even in the US, it happens. But because they politicized it, now they think that if they come and admit it, but even that is a very selfish statement. That if you admit, then it means that you lose or something like that.
Well, people insisting it's not doing so. And
so that's why I shut myself off. Do you guys? I shut down because I know what it is. But you talk and somebody is even saying you're a politician, you don't know what you're talking about. My dear, I sat in that sector for 14 years. And when something happens, I know the difference between what it is. You tell me that there are 630 transformers that are not working, because of that we are going off. There are 33,000 transformers in the ECG jurisdiction. Meanwhile, light is going off in the NEDCO jurisdiction. Are there transformers that are spoiled in the NEDCO jurisdiction as well? No. So why are you telling us that? 630 transformers cannot give us the kind of blackouts. I even looked for the definition of fluctuation. They said it's fluctuation. Fluctuations are brownouts, flickers. Do you get me? Low voltage. So that if I have to charge this my phone and it has to charge for 1 hour, it charges over 3 hours because my voltage is low. And that one is very domesticated. It is localized. It is at the end of the feeder. It is at the end of the transformer. It does not go widespread. So I am surprised that anybody would think that this is fluctuations, and no. So I actually have shut down because, you see, these people who are ruling this nation, when you talk about it, they say you are somebody, disrespect us. They are a bunch of disrespectful people who don't care a hoot about Ghanaians. It is unfortunate the kind of promises they gave to us, and we believe them, and they lied to us. That they are going to do well by us, that they are going to improve the system. The system was even improved before you came in. Now look after it, you are finding it unable to look after it. You cannot look after it. When they talk, they tell you there's excess power. If you have excess power, why are we in this situation? Right. It is an issue of finance. You don't have money to buy fuel. You don't have money to do ABCD. Let us know. Yesterday I saw on the net one of the ministers saying that if the cash waterfall is well distributed, ECG will collapse. How? Yeah. ECG is supposed to collect their money. Now they are telling us that we have 70% penetration of prepaid meters. It means that your money comes to you directly. That you should even be able to give us some tokens because we are paying upfront. It is not being done. So 30% is what? Postpaid. If 30% is postpaid, it means 70% of your income you are getting it. Why are you not?
Of that, there's been a lot of revenue mobilization.
Yes, a lot of revenue. If it was true, a lot of revenue mobilization that has gone on. So where is the money? Yeah. Seriously, critically.
From someone who's been in that office, leading the PURC, although you left 7 years ago, what do you think is the next step in this PURC versus ECG? Should I call it a brouhaha about?
You see, okay, I'm listening. About the cash waterfall?
No, about the order that they should submit reports, revenues, and all that, and a timetable. And ECG is saying that there's no need to do that because the issue has been resolved. And what do you think is the next step? That
no, you see, when PRC itself has become a bit, I heard this COSECA, a coalition of stakeholders in energy contracts and arrangements. I'm the executive secretary. And we thought that ECG and PRC has become a bit moribund.
Why do you say that?
Yes, because you see, how can, this is even an evidence. One, a press statement signed by 8 people. What is the meaning of that?
It's telling you the intensity of the issue.
It does not mean that.
You mean the number of people that are backing that order?
No, then it tells me that somebody is afraid that they won't allow one person to do it, but you can't sack all of us.
Oh.
Of course, because once the letter is on the letterhead of the PURC, signed by who? Yes, that is alone is power.
Yeah, okay.
That is the regulator in the sector who has an oversight of every utility, including the IPPs, when it comes to provision of service,
right?
Supply, demand, customer. The PURC is enjoined in this law to make sure that the utility service provider is viable. Then the customer gets quality of service. There's a balancing act that has to be done. So if you have that power, the PURC in the Act 538, it is categorical that the PURC is the government advisor on the energy sector. I do not know what the president is doing with the PURC in terms of allowing the PURC to advise them.
We'll delve more into this topic during our big stories. Right now, let's go to myjoyonline.com. I will read some of the headlines, and then we decide what stories we want to delve into. Starting from Mahama saying, I will appoint the youngest cabinet when elected. Then NPA saying that they're set to price floor for petroleum products from April 1st, which is today, in new guidelines. We will not burn your excavators under my presidency. That is Bawumia telling Galamsey's here. It says, we will not burn your excavators under my presidency. Would you like to get into that story? Okay, so let's get into that story. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is saying that if elected as president, he will not burn the excavators.
What would he do?
Let me read a bit of the story before we get into it. So the NPP flag bearer for election 2024, Dr. Bawumia, has declared a significant shift in the government's approach to dealing with illegal mining activities, popularly known as Galamsey. In a gathering of enthusiastic NPP supporters during a health walk in Kwewu, that is on March 30th, Dr. Bawumia announced that confiscated excavators would no longer be subject to burning under his administration. Despite applauding the NPP's efforts in combating Galamsey over the past 7 years, he acknowledged the need for a new strategy to address the canker effectively. To quote, we are going to help small-scale miners. We will introduce a mineral development bank to get money from them. There is a new regime for small-scale miners. We will not burn your seized excavators. Yaa Jantuah. So this Galamsey that's destroying our forests, our river bodies, our water bodies, our lives. Dr. Bawumia is saying that when he's elected into power, these seized excavators will not be burned. So what will he be doing with it?
Who is advising Dr. Bawumia?
I have no answer.
Two things. Somebody should advise him properly. The last time he said he was going to put into the national grid 2,000 megawatts of electricity. Which is, you can't do it, of solar panels, batteries, inverters. Where are you going to place that solar panels and inverters and into the national grid? You need maybe the whole of your organization. I thought you would talk about off-grid solar for houses and also talk about a policy move that whoever does real estate or build a house, you have to provide solar panels, so that a lot of pressure will be off the grid. What is he talking about here? What is wrong?
Well, maybe these excavators needed or will be put to good use.
My dear, he's confused.
He's saying that we need small scale.
No, but he's
instead of burning. They are resources. I
am telling you something. He is confused. What is he talking about? There's small scale mining that is legal. Because the processes for getting the small scale mining license is difficult and cumbersome, people then go into Galamsey, or some people are just stubborn and they want to go in there. I expected him to say that when he takes power. I mean, even all these things that he says, he has 10 months to do it. Why is he not doing them? You are the sitting vice president.
He is the mate.
The mate. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about the mate. Is he telling us that if he has good policy intervention towards dealing with Galamsey, his people will not allow him? He doesn't even know the difference between Galamsey and small-scale mining. There's legal...
What's the difference?
There's legal small-scale mining.
Okay.
Do you get me? Where you can go and get your license and you do your mining in a very, good environmental way.
And he's saying he wants to amplify that.
No, but that one,
small scale men who are not already registered.
No, but I am saying that one, you don't burn excavators because it's not illegal. Do you understand? Right. If he was talking about burning excavators, I rather would have thought that he would say that he would rather use the excavators as a point of evidence. That's because if you get the excavator, you move the motherboard, you know the chassis number, you go to DVLA, you find out who registered this one. So even if it was rented, even if it was bought, whatever, you can trace it. So why do you burn it?
Well, he's saying he won't burn it.
No, but I'm saying that why are they burning it now? So they should stop burning it. But you see, you should know the difference between galamsey and small-scale mining. Because small-scale mining, there are small-scale mining, people in small-scale mining, that is legal. I think that is the surface mining. You don't go deep, you don't use the champagne. Yes. You don't destroy, you reclaim the land, there are conditions to it. But those who are doing the illegal one, they just do whatever they want and leave the land as it is.
This is also another story we'll get into during our big stories and, assessing bold solutions.
No, but why is he not doing it? Why is he not doing it
now? He's waiting
he's just
to show you that,
No, he's just repeating his character. What he did to us in 2012, 2016, all the things he said that were not true. That is what he's doing again because now you are in the seat. We don't want rhetoric. If you really want to do this, start doing them now. You have 10 months. You can do it now, no problem. Because you want to see you doing some of the things you are talking about. Why should you get the seat before you start doing it? You are in power. Today is as if you are even the president. You are the leader of the party. You are now their flag bearer. And if you have to do these things for Ghanaians, you yourself said that we have employed you. Okay, we have employed you, so we are telling you that do it now. Cancel e-levy now. Remove all the nuisance taxes now. Do all those things now so we know that, yes, you are truthful to us. You are doing good by us. You can't just come and tell us stories and we will take it hook, line, and sinker. Enough. We are not going to do that anymore. I saw something on His Excellency saying that...
Yeah. So there are more stories on the 2024 election. He says, I'm prepared to serve immediately. No honeymoon period needed. That is, he's contrasting what Mahama said.
That one is politics. He's there. He's there. He should do the things that he's saying.
Let me get through the stories and then we can pick one more story and get into it.
He was talking about young people.
And that is Mahama saying that he will develop the National Youth and Sports Authority. Here, Mahama pledges to create a distinct youth and sports ministry. Let's get into that story.
Then he said young ministers. He was saying something.
Okay, let's take the story first and then we'll get into that other story. On election 2024, Mahama pledges to create a distinct youth and sports ministry. The story says, John Dramani Mahama, who is a flag bearer of the NDC, has unveiled plans to revamp the youth and sports ministry for enhanced service delivery to Ghana's youth. During the launch of the NDC's National Youth Wing Secretariat and campaign on Friday, Mahama stressed the necessity of adopting a more holistic approach to youth development. Key features of this initiative, according to Mahama, will include the establishment of a youth development service dedicated to creating employment opportunities for the youth and supporting the implementation of its 24-hour policy. We are going to separate youth and sports because it's a youth and sports ministry. But over the years, what we do is that the concentration is on sports. And even on sports, the concentration is on the Black Stars at the expense of any other sports. So I'm going to set up a service for youth development. It would focus primarily on youth status in all sectors of the economy. Let's delve into this before we get to the other story. So Mahama is saying that he wants to separate the youth and sports ministry because although it's youth and sports, we mostly the ministry mostly only focuses on sports. And even when it comes to sports, it's mostly just the Black Stars. There's been lots of talk during the All-African Games that why aren't the women receiving as much support as the men? And because they're doing so well. So how do you respond to a promise like this from Mahama?
It is good. I've always thought that the youth ministry is incumbent under sports and they don't come out as this thing. But what is his basis and what work has been done for us to know exactly how he's going to do it? Because you don't want a situation where the youth, we have a youth development authority.
Yeah.
So how is that different from what he is promising? There's something like that, unless I'm wrong. There's a youth something. Yeah. So what is the difference? And we need to also synchronize all of them and exactly what is going to happen with a youth authority, a new one. I mean, they should tell us more,
right,
to know exactly what it is, because you can't just say it. Then he's also promising that he's going to reduce ministries, he's going to reduce departments. He will
appoint the youngest cabinet when he
What does that mean?
So he's saying that he underscored the importance of youth representation, emphasizing that their energies and diverse perspectives are vital for shaping policies and driving progress in the country. So one of the promises, quote, one of the promises I leave you, young people, with is that the NDC cabinet post-January 7, 2025 is going to be averagely one of the youngest cabinets in the history of the country. If you look at the demographics of our country and you know that the majority are young people, then definitely, if you're setting up a cabinet, young people must be the majority. So he's basically saying that his cabinet will consist of more young people than elderly people, as we've seen in the history of Ghana's cabinet.
Okay, that one will be his prerogative as a president, but I believe that there should be a blend. It is very important that you blend the old and the new, to get you the vintage that you want.
Yeah.
You cannot make it all young. You blend the two. And also, he's also constrained by 55% of ministers coming from parliament.
Yes.
So how does the parliament look like? That will be dependent. The parliament, the way it looks like, will be dependent on what he can do.
Yeah.
If he has the youth, more youth in parliament, then mind you, youth is I think 18 to 35 years.
Yeah. 40?
Is it 40? I think it's 35.
Okay.
It can't be 40. Why 40? You are already old. How can you be youth at 40?
So, yeah, 18 to 35.
18 to 35. So is he saying that he's going to appoint 18 to 35 years?
Well, he's saying he will appoint more youth than
maybe more younger people.
More younger people.
Yes, but if he says youth, typically youth is 18 to 35 years.
Okay.
So if he says he's going to appoint younger people.
Right.
Do you get me?
Right.
But you have to blend the old and the new. And also he's constrained by 55%. And he has 19 members of cabinet. 19 members of cabinet according to the constitution. So how many are going to be youth? How many are going to be old? Is it 8?
Currently, do you think that we have enough representation as young people in this country?
No, I don't think so.
Even in parliaments, we don't have a lot of young people.
No, I don't think so. I believe that we should prop up our youth more.
So it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it is. But you need to see exactly, because you can say it, but when you come to the reality, then you find that you are in the difficulty.
Yeah.
So he should look at all these things, 19 members of cabinet, because he's not saying that he's going to appoint youth as ministers. He has been specific. He said cabinet.
Yes, he said.
The constitution says you have to get 19 members, not more than 19. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Then he has to also look at the people who are standing. You have people like Roxanne Daffy-Amepo, who is a very, very young, vibrant person. Do you get me? So now we put one down. We have Honorable Okujetua Blakwa. He's also there. Honorable Ayaga. These are the younger people in there. Do you get me?
Right.
Yes, but I believe they're even over 40. So what exactly is he talking? You have to also look at experience. You don't have to joke with experience. It's very key that you look at the experience of the person, whether young or old, what they can do. Running a ministry is not that easy. You need to have somebody who has gravitas and can stand up to the people who he met, the civil servants. Sometimes they can gang up against you, you know. If you don't have the gravitas to stand up against them, you end up and you are dealing with your fathers and your grandfathers, and you find it very difficult to stand up against them. So you need to look at it holistically. and know exactly where you want to land.
I am tempted to agree with you because most of these policies and promises in themselves are not bad, although some seem far-fetched. It's the implementation that's, you know, that's where the challenges and even questions arise. So our job, I guess, as media people and individuals is to probe, punch loopholes where necessary to be sure that they're actually producing a feasible, workable policies and promises.
Firm it up.
Firm it up before, you know, not just... Let's do one more story on myjoyonline.com before we wrap this up. So Peki traditional area celebrates Asafo Dada Festival to commemorate sacrifices of forebearers. ECG Ashanti West Region commissions 15 transformer injections to improve power supply. Election 2024, Mahama pledges to create a distinct youth and sports ministry. That's what we just got into. And Dagbamante, a town of uncommon serenity and sacred harmony without a single church. That's an interesting one. Yeah. I want to get into that story of Dagbamate, a town of uncommon serenity and sacred harmony without a single church. So the story reads, in the heart of the Kachi South District of Ghana's Volta region lies a town unlike other, Dagbamate. Here, amidst its impeccable clean streets and neatly kept homes, a unique tapestry of culture, tradition, and spirituality weaves the fabric of community life. What sets Dagbamate apart from its neighboring towns is not just its pristine appearance, but the absence of a conventional site one might expect in any Ghanaian community, a church. Now, surprisingly, in this tranquil haven, not a single church or Christian gathering place can be found. Instead, the focal point of spiritual reverence lies in the sacred Akufo-Addo Boji, housed in a chapel-like shrine that serves as a town's spiritual nucleus. I think that's a picture there. I don't know if you have it on your screen. It looks like it looks like a church, but it's actually a shrine for one of Akufo-Addo Boji. That's an interesting one. Now, before we even talk about this, again, Nana Frimpoma, also because you have a background in the CPP, she said that what we need now is to swear.
That's one is her own thing. I don't know about that.
You don't want to comment on that?
I don't know the basis for which she said that, so I can't comment on it.
Well, she believes that aside the Bible and the Quran, we should swear on water when our leaders are being sworn into office. And that will actually, because we are traditional at heart, or we are traditional people before the influx of Western culture and Christianity came into, we were traditionalists, and so we are connected to water. She gave some explanation when we're talking about how that will actually require them to do right by us. This is a town we serve a living God. His name is Yahweh. Okay. He said, but that's not who everybody in the country says.
No. That you see, his name is Yahweh at the foundation of what is going on there. Even if you go to the traditional place, they tell you that if God wills. Yeah. He serve a living God. His name is Yahweh. His name is God. He said, I am who I am. He's the greatest. The things that he does are magnificent. He created this world. No one can step in for him.
Okay.
If you stand before him and you make an oath, I'm serious about this. You make a covenant and you don't go by it. He deals with you. But you see, God loves his children so much that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him will not perish.
I mean, we are celebrating Easter.
That is the point. That is why he brought his son to die for, because he knows that we can sin. But if you don't do well by God, he will punish you.
But, you know, you can see where she's coming from, about how we've sworn in leaders over many decades on the Bible and the Quran.
America swears.
And they seem to be getting away with...
Please, the Americans swears on the Bible. Yes. They don't even swear on the Quran. Well, but they do good.
So what's
it is not about what you swear by. It's about the person who is standing there. You see, the time has come for us to understand that the people we put in power, they answer to us. In America, in the UK, all over the Western world, the European world, the Asian world. Maybe China and some of them they are a bit dictatorial, but even those people, they think that they have to work for their people to be okay.
Right.
They make laws that are good for them. So If somebody, Biden can stand and swear by the Bible, and does well, because he knows he's accountable to somebody.
So that's what I'm saying. That's Biden, that's America, that's
yes.
Western culture.
Yes, but we rush there.
Yeah.
We rush there to go and do whatever. Do you get me? Maybe some places are swearing by Buddha. We don't know. It is not what you swear by, but you yourself. What do you want to do? How are you committed to ensure that I have a responsibility to make sure that this nation works? You see, being a president is one of the easiest jobs. If you are not able to do it, then you are something else.
Right.
It means you are not committed. It's the easiest job because you have the money. You have access to cash. You won't go and do hustle. You have access to human personnel. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency Bawumia, they've done a careful look at the personnel they have, and they are all making their own promises.
Yeah.
You have power, authority. All you do is to exact it. Be a servant to your people. So when you wake up in the morning, you think Ghana. When you sleep, you think Ghana. When you walk, you think Ghana. So for the 4 years that you are there, you should be thinking Ghana, Ghana, Ghana. So you should think about it. What am I going to do to make my people okay? I am a mother. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I say, what are my children going to eat? So I'll ask each one of them, what will you eat? What will you eat? What will you eat? Then we come to a center. What are the needs? When I was campaigning, maybe I saw a road from here to there. It's not a good road. I went to the north. People are still sitting in mud houses. I reckon that there should be hospitals. Then you have a team. Then you see, every time I talk about the manifestos, these manifestos are not going to help us. We need to look at an economic development plan. A plan that is meant to what? Build a nation. Because the manifestos are for the party, so when they come, they want to satisfy their people. 3/4 of the manifestos are not adhered to. Because it is for the party. But if you have an economic development plan, a committee that will be set up to let everybody know that our job is to evaluate the president. Right now, who evaluates the president? Who evaluates the government? The government appoints everybody. So there's nobody to evaluate the government. So they do what they like. They have power in the constitution. The constitution too has to be reviewed. That is for another conversation.
Yeah.
So when that is done, then you know that somebody is watching you. And we give you a time frame that you see, this is page 2. Party A did page 1 to 2. You come and continue from page 2 to 4.
Yeah, like a development plan for the country.
Yes, for the country.
That until, we've reached a set objective.
That is the point.
Nobody deviates. And,
nobody deviates.
Embarks on his own.
No.
We have housing projects that have been abandoned.
Yes, to start a own thing. Because you have to get a name. No. You are there to work.
Yeah.
We should start letting them know that it's not about you. Look at them saying that if they talk about doom, so it means that they will be out of power. It is not about you.
Yeah.
So when you come, you sit on that seat. We have given it to you because we voted for you. We know you can do good by us. So we say that, look, this is the book you are going to work with. Like I have a Bible. I read my Bible and I do what God wants me to do. So we give you an economic development plan. A plan that you should work by, whether you like it or not. By a certain time, if you haven't reached...
I want us to touch on this story a little bit. Also because I think that we are more spiritual, not I personally, there's another school of thought that we are more spiritual than ethical people. We prefer to pray and say that Fama Nyame and all that rather than demand what's right, rather than be accountable as individuals, rather than the work that we are supposed to do. The corruption in this country runs deep. It's not just at the helm of political leadership. It's individuals in all these agencies and companies and organizations. I
agree with you 100%.
It's us as individuals. Now, what's interesting about the story we read is how they say that it's an orderly place, it's neat, and there's not a single church. So it's like a central thing. The people themselves are committed to making their community the best they can, habitable enough for themselves. And it's not by the dictates of what the Bible says and what it says. What do you think about that?
Cleanliness is next to godliness. So if we are not clean, then it means we are not with God. It's our own individual characters. The people there, they have made up their mind that their place will be clean. I don't think anybody has put a fatwa or a caveat on them that they should ensure it is clean. I don't think that we have not been told that if you don't make the place clean, the gods who are there will kill you. No, it is not there. But they are serving something that they believe in. I wish they were Christians because I am a Christian, but that is what they have decided to do. God in his own wisdom knows whoever should be where. So that is fine. But I'm saying they themselves, they have been there and they have decided themselves. They are not exposed. They are okay with where they are. They are happy. But immediately they let them come to Accra. Do you get it? Because Accra, they will see somebody
and the filth.
And the filth, they will see somebody throwing sachet water, rubber somewhere. They will pick it up and start doing same. But that place, you don't see them. And it's not only this town. When you go to most villages, it is not dirty.
Yeah.
It is clean.
Yeah. That's true.
Because their culture,
especially in those parts of town,
yes, it is clean. I mean, it is clean. Yeah. That does not mean that it has got anything to do with what they serve. Do you understand? What we say, people are in church and they do horrible things.
Yeah.
People are also in this place, the shrine. I don't know if it's a church, and they also do horrible things. People are Muslims and they do horrible things. If we are going to go according to the dictates of our religious books that we read, we won't do the things that we are doing. Because it is very clear, even look at the 10 Commandments. It says clearly, thou shalt not steal.
I think the significance of religion in the development of this country is a conversation on its own.
Yes.
About, what these churches and mosques and their leadership are doing to move the country forward.
You see, the point of what are they telling the congregants? It is very key.
Yeah.
Do you get me? What are they telling us?
Because they play a very huge role in the kind of persona each individual becomes. The church is very significant. When you go to church and you hear your pastor say that this year we think NDC, most people actually go with what their pastor is saying. Yeah. That is why these political parties also like to go to churches to campaign to the church members, because they know that church members listen to their pastors. The same way Muslims listen to their imams. The same way African traditional religious people will listen to their priests and priestesses. So we cannot underestimate the role of
you cannot. But you see,
in our quest for development.
Me, I am cultured in a way. I'm a Baptist, and I've been cultured as a Baptist that when my pastor preaches, I should go and look at the Bible again. When somebody gives me a prophecy, I should pray for God to tell me same.
Okay.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
So I think it is time that we cultured people not to just follow their pastors blindly.
Yeah.
Because there are times that you fall into a ditch. But I am saying that fundamentally, our leaders, they went to Sunday school or they went to Makaranta. Whatever it is. When you go to Sunday school as a child, after the 10 Commandments, you learn. I don't know what is in the Quran, but thou shalt not steal. Corruption is stealing. So if this one is not a pastor business, so you at Sunday school at Makaranta,
but we still do it.
That is what I'm saying. So it's got nothing to do with the church. That is what the individual.
Yeah.
It is clear. God said, these are my 10 commandments. Carry them. Live by them. And I believe it is in the Quran. There are things that is very synonymous in the Quran and in the Bible. Even the African traditional religion, I don't think they would want anybody to steal. Thou shalt not steal. But today, corruption, everywhere. Everywhere. Look at the monetization of our politics. Just to vote for somebody, you take 5,000. Just to vote for somebody, you take 3,000. Just to vote for somebody, the person should give you a 55-inch television.
I saw that.
Yes.
Well, let's get the issues that sometimes.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Thou shalt not
honoring
steal.
teachers. The teachers themselves were happy, but I felt very sad watching them. some teachers had taught for 50 years, from between 15 to 50 years. And in honoring them, they were given a fridge, a deep freezer. And I thought, is that the best we can do?
Yeah.
A fridge.
And some of them don't have a place to lay their heads.
Let's get back onto the news portal because we have to do one more story and then wrap up. This is the BBC. And there's a story here about Israeli troops pull out of Gaza hospital, witnesses say. Let's get into that story on this Israel and Gaza issues and war. Witnesses have told the BBC the Israeli military has left. So according to the Israel Defense Forces, troops killed terrorists and found numerous weapons and intelligence documents in the area. The raid happened after Israel said it had intelligence indicating Hamas was using the hospital as a base to launch attacks. Hamas denies using medical sites to carry out military operations. Heavy fighting has been reported around the hospital, the largest in Gaza in recent weeks. In a statement following Monday's withdrawal, the IDF said troops had completed precise operational activity in the area of the Shifa hospital and exited the area. This ongoing war, I think war is good for media, war is good for political leaders, not those not party politics, the people who actually
sell arms.
Yes, sell arms, media and all that. This issue about Gaza, Israel, and troops and how lives are being lost, what do you make of it?
You see, the men, they should work well. This whole business is the result of Abraham's issue.
How do you mean?
Ishmael and Isaac. These two people who are fighting like this, they are like...
For land.
For land. What is it?
Yeah.
And you see, Israel has become... I don't know how to say it, but Netanyahu made a statement. He said, never again. You see, after the Holocaust, they have made up their mind that they will not allow any group of people to do what happened to them again. And this is what we are seeing. And I believe that what is the UN doing about it? There should be some form of truce at this time.
What is NATO also
But
doing?
you see, the people too are selling their arms.
There are various leader groups.
Yes.
That are supposed to be taking.
Yes, but the UN is supposed to be the overall organization that supervises nations.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
What is the UN doing about it? All these humanitarian organizations, US goes in, comes out, goes in, comes out, and nothing is being... We should find the core of what is going on. I'm always saying that we shouldn't go into a third world war.
Yeah.
Because the way this thing is escalating, I think, and especially the children on both sides, I think that something has to be done about it. I think the world has to come together to intervene in this problem. Enough of all these stories. What are we going to do to ensure that these things are stopped? Because now they are killing terrorists and they are killing ordinary human beings together. We don't need wars anymore. I don't know what it is, but Abraham didn't leave us a good legacy. As of March
5th or so, there was about 31,000 people who lost their lives in this Israel-Hamas.
And the young ones who were kidnapped, and it is not very interesting.
Anyway, what are your final words to wrap up the news?
Are we already done?
Yes,
okay.
We are. Time flies when you're having fun, huh? Okay.
Okay. My final words, I think Ghana, our people who want to lead this nation should start thinking about us.
Yeah.
Should start doing good by us. And I believe it is time for us to ask them. We have left them just like that. I believe it's time to find them, let them know that they are accountable to 32 million people. And that if they don't do things right, it's not going to help us. You see, the saddest thing that I see every day, are queues at the embassies. Go to the Canadian place, the VHF. See the number of people who are there.
Go to Abelenkpe.
Abelenkpe, because they have been promised jobs in Canada. Everybody is running away. But the people out there, these countries, what do they have? They depend on us. They come for our raw gold, our raw cocoa, all our raw our raw resources.
Yeah.
And that is what they use to run their nations. I think that we should end the poverty. You see, our national anthem enjoins us to resist the rule of the oppressor. During the time of Kwame Nkrumah, the oppressor was the physical white man. Today, the oppressor is what? Poverty, disease, lack of adequate medical facilities, bad education. We're always talking about
intermittent power
cuts, which we don't need. Galamsey, taxes killing us. Now, I've heard that even if you are somebody who wants to be in a trade, you have to pay your VAT upfront. Yes. And I'm asking, what kind of cheating is this? That is the oppressor. Corruption. That is killing us. That is the oppressor. And our national anthem, which is a prayer, enjoins us to resist the rule of the oppressor. The time has come for us to do that. The time has come for us to open our eyes, whoever you are, whether educated or uneducated. The time has come to make our leaders accountable. And I think the leaders, for once, should promise themselves that when we get power, we are going to ensure that Ghana is great. We are going to ensure that nobody goes to bed without having a meal. We are going to ensure that people have a place to sleep, that nobody will sleep outside. It can be done. It is possible. We can do it. And I don't know why it is not being done, because people think about themselves first, about their families. How much do you need? My dear, when you sleep on a bed, you sleep on just one side of the bed. So why are we trying to amass wealth? I want to get a leader who will come and say no V8. I have never heard any one of them saying it all. No, nobody is going to sit in V8.
Majority leader was rather advocating for the MPs to
get Maybachs.
We have to wrap this up. I think the miracle that most young people pray for these days is a leader, a president, or leaders who have the nation and its people at heart.
At heart, yes.
A leader who says that the welfare of the citizenry is more important
than
amassing wealth and impoverishing this country. Because we are not supposed to be in debt to the tune of over 1 point whatever billion.
Why do we even borrow?
What do we do with the money?
You see, we have so much resources. Why do we borrow?
Right.
We need to be prudent. Why do we borrow? If you have so much resources, why do you borrow? Because it means you are not being prudent, you are being careless. We should enjoin our leaders not to borrow anymore. It is because of borrowing that Nana Addo cannot sign the LGBTQ law. Because you have to go and borrow.
This is how we're wrapping up for the news review. We have AM Sports up next, and then we'll get into the big stories. Today we'll talk about health and power. Stay with us. There's still more coming your way on the AM show.